The standing water on the road was so high it prevented people from up the hill getting out at all. And if you walk over to Larry's shed, you can see just how high things got. It's a good couple inches over my head. Witnesses here at Extreme World paint a chilling picture of a 12-year-old girl taken to the top of this white pyramid-shaped ride to begin what was supposed to be a free fall adventure. Well, when she was released and began falling, the net that was supposed to catch her did not. Within the last few seconds, what was already a terrible situation got a lot worse. Police just came over to us seconds before we went on air and told us there are 2 more victims.
I'll show you what we're talking about. You go to one spot here, there's nothing on the ground because the wind has taken all that snow, picked it up and moved it around. Then you move back to a spot like this, all the way along this walkway, you can see where the snow is piled up. In some spots over here, you can see it's almost knee deep.
We're standing on one of the very few pieces of dry land at this mobile home resort because just down that hill there is a furious fight on to save these homes, and it's a fight these people know they don't completely control. Hey, John and Lee, there are still plenty of protesters flowing in and out of the Capitol building tonight, and the people here are angry. Tonight is the closest thing we've seen in 3 weeks to what you might describe as a controlled chaos. There are some doors and windows that have been broken in. Police actually handcuffed some doors shut on the inside, and some of the people marching outside have called for a general strike. All of this the product of what has been a very tense and unexpected few hours. When the Capitol closed and doors locked, an angry group of people stopped at nothing to get inside. Our cameras caught them crawling in 2 different sets of bathroom windows and then being let in an upstairs door before Capitol Police came to stop them. The frustration started 3 hours earlier with the announcement the budget repair bill was heading to conference committee. The Capitol Rotunda was packed, most gathering and shouting outside Senate chambers. Outside, hundreds lined up to get in, many now reaching their breaking point.
I feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm a teacher in this state. I love this state. I've lived here since I was 4 years old, and I can't see myself staying here and teaching the children of this state any longer without collective bargaining.
Word quickly spread the committee meeting was to strip out fiscal portions of the bill, allowing Senate Republicans to vote on eliminating collective bargaining with the Democrats out of state.
It seems rather sneaky to me. I think it's underhanded.
The Senate Republicans have now passed the bill, and the crowd outside the Capitol that was angry before is still here, not impressed, they say, with what they've witnessed.
This is the worst, most awful, wrong thing. And how dare the Republicans claim to be the party that's more patriotic than the Democrats? You know what? You just went your way. I teach kindergartners that have better skills than you do.
Many protesters refused to leave the building once the Senate wrapped up, now doing anything to have their voices heard.
It does not stop right here. It starts right here.
Right now, there are still hundreds of people inside the Capitol building, and as you can see, these doors behind me are now wide open. Many of these people actually brought in sleeping materials and vowed they will spend the night here. It's setting up what is sure to be a very tense day again tomorrow. Live at the state capitol, Chris Woodard, NBC 15 News. What we can tell you right now is that within the last few seconds, what was already a terrible situation got a lot worse. Police just came over to us seconds before we went on air and told us there are 2 more victims in the Dane County area. They're not going into specifics, but saying along with the mother and daughter that were shot dead here on Madison's southwest side, they found another mother and young child in the Dane County area that are dead, and they believe the same man is responsible for all 4 what they're calling murders at this point, and right now they're looking for that man. We just got a picture, and we're going to show you right now what he looks like. His name is Tyrone M. Adair. Tyrone is a male black. He was born on March 9th of 1971. They say he's 5'10", 175 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Again, Adair is now a person of interest in 4 murders. Adair should be considered armed and dangerous. Right now, police do not know where he is, but again, all 4 victims were found in the Dane County area. They say Adair may be driving a silver GMC Acadia with Wisconsin license plate 342 EBL. What we can tell you about the first of these 4 murders that happened where we are here tonight on Park Edge Drive, around 6 o'clock, police got a call that a mother and her daughter were found dead in their car in their own garage in this neighborhood. They were shot dead. They said at that point they did not necessarily believe there was imminent danger to the public. And right now, while this suspect is armed and dangerous, they do believe that all 4 of these shooting deaths are domestic in nature, meaning that they do believe this man had a relationship with those victims. Right now, they're not saying what that relationship is. This is something that is obviously shaking up not only police, but people who live in this neighborhood.
Obviously, this is a very sad occasion as we move towards Christmas to have a mother and her young child shot to death in their own garage. This is where the victim lived. We've got a team of detectives right now working this case.
I saw police, flashlights going in and out of the windows and police cars coming. And then next thing you know, the ambulance had pulled up and they were carrying the child.
I have 5 kids, and you kind of wonder what's going on in the neighborhood when you see all these cops and crime tape everywhere.
Again, right now, police are looking for this man who they say is armed and dangerous. They just handed me this flyer a few minutes before we came on air. They say they believe he is responsible for 4 murders in the Dane County area, 2 of those here on Park Edge Drive in Southwest Madison. Right now, police aren't releasing where the other 2 victims were found. But in this case, in all, 2 mothers, 2 children dead tonight, and police on the look for Tyrone M. Adair. If you see him, immediately call 911. Police do believe he is armed and dangerous. Of course, we'll have all the updates for you on this story as we get them on our web channel, NBC15.com. And tomorrow morning, if we hear anything, you will be the first to know. Reporting live on Madison's Southwest Side, I'm Chris Woodard.
Passing cars are the type of thing we don't often notice. Often seen as nothing more than a nuisance.
It was incredible.
It takes a desperate situation to look at them differently.
And the fact that there were a couple cars coming by right at that instance really saved my life.
Rod Ripley, owner of Lucky's Bar and Grill, was working on a mirror in the bar Saturday morning when it buckled and sliced his arm so badly, he's been told he lost half to 2/3 of his blood.
I look over and I'm like, is this really happening?
Marcus Stanford was driving by with his girlfriend when he saw Ripley walk out the front door covered in blood, yelling for help.
It was one of those situations where I kind of felt like just dive right into it.
Ripley managed to get himself out of the front of the building. That's when passersby saw him. He walked all the way through the parking lot to get in front of the back door. That's when Marcus got here and started to help.
He was laying right here.
As his girlfriend and another woman called 911, Stanford grabbed some towels, wrapped 2 tourniquets around Ripley's arm, and helped him elevate it.
It was stunning. They walked into a really stressful scene, and they were able to keep themselves together and really do some things to help that patient buy some time.
Makes you feel good. It's just something that, I had to do, So, I hope someone would do that for me if I was in that situation.
In the right place at the right time, Stanford kept his cool and kept one grateful patient alive until paramedics arrived.
I can't put words to it. It's unbelievable. I mentioned to my girlfriend last night, I said, we have to do something for these guys.
For his part, Ripley's convinced that another 5 minutes without help and he wouldn't be around today. And Stanford says that some first aid training he took as an RA came in awfully handy.
There are some things in our lives we can never escape. Horrible and haunting as they may be, they're there. Stuck in our heads forever. But the most horrific memories are the ones Julie Sheebig is running towards.
Right now, breaking news.
A man calls police, tells them he may have killed his wife.
We also saw people bring 2 young children out of these townhome buildings behind us.
In August 2009, Sheebig's husband beat her in the head with this hammer, smoked a cigarette, and left her for dead. All of it while their 2 young children watched from their high chairs. Details chronicled in his chilling 911 call.
What's the phone number you're calling from?
That doesn't matter. You better get there as quick as you can because I just killed my wife and the 2 babies are there alone.
Inside, sir. What's your name?
Against all odds, Sheebig is still here today.
I remember telling them if I didn't make it to tell my kids that they were my last thoughts and that I loved them.
But 3 months after her attack, the nightmare gets worse when she finds out a former classmate, Tracy Judd, and her child are 2 of 4 people murdered by the child's father.
I guess you could say, to some degree, I had survivor's guilt.
It's like, you know, why am I here, not her? Why did I make it? Why didn't she make it?
Tough questions Sheebig now believes she's answered.
Why do you think you are still here?
To make changes. I believe so. To make changes.
So as hard as that day is to relive, she's telling anyone who will listen.
In our relationship, the abuse was emotional and verbal, and the first time that it gets physical could be the last time for you.
Every year on the day of her attack, she plans to release purple balloons with a card attached, telling her story and having contact information for those who help women in abusive situations.
Sheebig is also scheduled to speak here to Madison Police's newest officers about how to handle domestic situations, and says she's already spoken to some people who've come forward to tell her they're in abusive situations.
That's empowering to me. That's healing to me. If I feel like I can make a difference in at least just somebody, so that they're not laying on their kitchen floor, then I feel like I've done something good.
She says the healing process finally began a month ago when she was able to address her attacker and former husband, Jerry Orton, at his sentencing.
Jerry had been in my house for 1 minute before he began to strangle me. Over and over he kept saying, "Tonight's the night you're going to die." My babies were instantly screaming and crying with the sound of terror. He raises his right arm and I see a shiny mallet. At that very moment I believed for certain I was going to die. Although parts of me did die that night, I am no longer the person I once was with all the abilities that I once had. I carry so much guilt as a mother that I allowed my children to be exposed to this abuse, but I was trapped.
During a tear-filled apology, Orton, the man who pleaded guilty to attempted homicide for taking a hammer to his wife's head over and over, attempted to explain.
Nobody knows the other side of the story, the threats I went through of keeping my children from me. There's a lot of situations, a lot of things that came into play that affected my mental instability.
To me, I find it comical, because I know what the truth is. He's a classic abuser.
Orton was sentenced to 22 years behind bars and 8 years of extended supervision. But Sheebig knows one day he'll be free.
Well, I can go into hiding if I need to.
Do you worry about that at all?
Absolutely.
Despite the fears, and at least for now, she says the healing and helping can begin. Gut-wrenching memories she's determined to keep alive to help others.
Part of me died that night on that kitchen floor without a doubt, and now it's trying to figure out who the new Julie is.
Julie Sheebig, a woman determined to help, no matter how much it hurts. For NBC 15 News, I'm Chris Woodard.